Hi guys, good morning. Thank you all for joining. I'm so sorry I was late. Electrical issues. Hi. Hi everybody. Can you all tell me where you're joining from? Good morning, Musa from Liberia. Good morning, Rhoda from South Sudan. How's the weather over there at South Sudan? Good morning, Mary from Kaduna, Nigeria. Good morning, Bethel. Good morning, everybody. So today I'm going to be training this session. As you can all see, can anybody see my slide? Oh, very hot. Well, I am good. Thank you all. So today, yes, thank you, Zinabo Giba. Please forgive me if I don't get the pronunciation of your name correctly. Just correct me. If you can also put the, pronunciation for me, it'll be perfect. So we are diving right in. Thank you all for joining today. First off, our topic for today is creating an effective pitch deck for investors. Has any one of you created a pitch deck before? Not you, Phoebe or Phoebe. Fatima said not her. I've never. Interesting. That means this session is going to be as impactful as I think it's going to be. Okay, so our topic for today is creating an effective pitch deck for investors. So can anybody off the top of their head tell me what a pitch deck is? Like, off the top of your head, what is a pitch deck? Do you have any, like, a slight idea or a clue as to what a pitch deck is? Daphne said perfect class for her or him. I don't know if you're he or she. Business pitch, yes. Does anybody have any more to share? Like Shark Tank? Yes. Okay. I've never heard of something. It's perfectly okay if you've not heard of something like this. Business representation. Well, I like that you all have an idea of what this session is going to be about. It's like a presentation of your prospective. It's like a presentation to your prospective, thank you, investors, convincing them to invest in your business. Perfect, Bethel. So we're going to be diving in. Now, we're going to be looking at the introduction to business pitching. We're going to be looking at understanding your investors. We're going to also talk about elements of a pitch deck. Forgive my camera for not being on. I'm trying to use my internet in a way that it would not disrupt the class. So I've been having off and on internet connectivity. I would have loved to show you all my face and my excitement and enthusiasm for taking this class. So the first thing we're going to talk about is introduction to business pitching. The second thing is understanding your investors, elements of a pitch deck, crafting your pitch deck, very important. The elevator pitch, pitching exercise, and then the conclusion. So I hope you guys have buckled up. I have my moderators here. They'll take any of your questions. Just make sure you put them down below in the Q&A section of this session on Zoom. Just drop it in the Q&A portion. They would attend to it. I have with me John, Joy, Ize, and Patrick, Matchit, and Beryl, who might be Udeme. But anyways, let's get right into it. Now, like I asked earlier on, what is a pitch? And now we're going to be talking about the power of a pitch deck in this first slide. So a pitch deck, as you can see on the slide, is your opportunity to introduce your business to, potential investors. It's a visual representation and presentation that outlines your business model, strategy team, and financial forecast. Who here understands what a financial forecast is? Anybody? I think my screen just stopped sharing. Can you see my screen now? Okay, thank you. Thank you all. Oh, I thought I lost you guys for a minute. So who knows what a financial forecast is? I'm not seeing your response. Is it just me? Um, how much money the business is meant to make and need? You're there, but you're not there. Let's go on. So a pitch deck is literally a concise visual representation of a business idea or startup, and it's used to persuade potential investors, partners, or clients by highlighting the problem, the solution, the market you're trying to reach, your business model, your team, and basically your funding needs. The goal of a pitch deck is to tell a compelling story and generate interest, which leads you to have further conversations, more meetings, or even investments. And it's typically a pitch deck is typically within the range of 10 to 24 slides, and it serves as a critical tool for raising funds and securing collaboration. If you have a business, and let's say that business is as excellent as you think it is, and you want more money, you need more money to get your reach, to scale. You need to speak to people that can help you scale. And most times, people won't want to invest their money on somebody that literally does not understand where they are at currently in their business, where they are seeking to go to by means of an investment, and where that investment is going to take them to. As an investor, you want to know, okay, this person actually knows everything. There was a time I watched a particular Shark Tank, and this person that was pitching to her investors, she knew everything down to the last cent that would be spent on whatever money. Like, she knew this is the amount I wanted, and this is how I would spend it. She knew everything. Tell me why, that person would not be listened to, at least, at most. So now that we understand what a pitch deck is, we're going to be moving on to knowing the types of investors. As a business person, who is your audience? Who do you want to reach as an investor? The first one we're going to look at is banks. We have banks that can also invest in your business. We have number two, the angel investors. We have venture capitalists. I don't know if anybody here has heard of, venture capitalists before. They are basically people that, in a sense, bet on your business, but whatever interest or loss that business incurs, they are also going to take their own share of it. We're going to look into all these investors like individually, so do not be worried. I just want to run them by you before we start, the explanation. So we have banks as an investor. We have your angel investors. We have your venture capitalists. We have private equity, and we have impact investors. Now, these investors, let's start with banks. Banks are a medium where people can go and collect loans. So if you have a business and you can show and prove that, okay, for this amount of time, I kept records of every of our financial, transactions, both the inflows and the outflows. I have a detailed document stating what we did, how we did it. All you need to do is when you have those documents in place, you go to the banks. And then the banks would check, okay, is this a profitable business? Can we give them loans? And how much loan is this person asking for? Is it too much? And most times you get loans, but then unlike these other investors, banks do not have a stake on your business. They only collect interest for the loans that they give to you. And when you're done paying that, they've hands off. So this is the first investor profile you need to know when you're sourcing for funds, sourcing for monetary, pump into your business. Now, we're going to look at angel investors. Angel investors, they're usually high net worth in individuals that are interested in early stage startups. They want to know your business idea, they want to understand your passion and your growth potential. Like the name implies, angel investors can actually be a family, it can be a friend, or any individual with spare money, to give, who believes in you and your idea. So let's take, for example, who am I going to call? Let's say Cynthia from Uganda has this very rich uncle. And she told him, "Oh, uncle, I have this business, and I think it's going to, be instrumental in solving world hunger." And then the uncle is like, "You know what? I buy into this your idea. Let me give you 2 million to kickstart, this your world hunger project." He's basically acting as an angel investor. Now, the key is angel investors, they use their personal money. It's not pooled funds like venture capitalists or private equity firms. Many early stage founders first get from your friends, your family. I don't know if Bill Kisu Maguro says Cynthia has a very rich auntie, you see? So imagine Cynthia's very rich auntie gives her, the money to start up her business. There are families like that. Your whole family can gather around and be like, "Oh, this is a very good thing that you're starting. Let's invest in you. Let's put our support." Those are angel investors. Although there are professional angel investors too, but then, you get the concept. There are entrepreneurs that are actually angel investors. Like that's what they do. Now, I also want you to keep in mind that professional angel investors are usually, experienced or wealthy entrepreneurs who invest not just money, but they also give you mentorship tips. They connect you with their own personal networks. So imagine my uncle or Cynthia's uncle and auntie giving her the 2 million, and he's like, "Oh, I also have a friend that is in something like this. Come, let me introduce you to him so that you will hit the ground running." These are what angel investors do. They spend their time, they give you money, and then they introduce you to like networks of people you can learn from. Somebody just wrote to Elumelu of UBA. Yes, he's an investor, but I'm not sure that he's an angel investor. We're going to look at other things. Except he's your uncle, then he can invest in your business privately, So the next one we're going to be looking at are venture capitalists. Now, these venture capitalists, they are mostly interested in high growth and scalable businesses. So the first one we looked at was banks. The banks, they don't have a stake in your business. They give you loans, you pay your interest, and that's that. Angel investors, they give you large sum of money and they introduce you to the networks of people in their arsenal. They also give you personal one-on-one mentorships, and they invest in large sums, like they invest larger sums like up to 5 million to 50 million. It depends. And it's usually in exchange for equity or shares. Equity or shares, same thing. Now, that rich uncle that gave him money, sometimes They might say, okay, let me invest in you for this. Other times, because I do not believe in free lunch, meaning there's no free money. Other times, they'll give you this money and tell you, I'm giving you this money to take 10% of your this, 10% of this, 10% of your, organization. They have a share of that particular organization. They're not, especially the experienced entrepreneurs or the wealthy individuals. And the truth of the matter is, I do not even think that if a person gives you free money to, do whatever you like, you might not really understand what was pumped into your business, except you have to, in a sense, exchange it for something. You then sit up, you're like, okay, this person that actually invested in me also wants a part. That means he sees something here, so I can't afford to spend this money carelessly or frivolously. So that's that about angel investors. And now we're going to move on to venture capitalists. Now, venture capitalists, they are usually interested in high growth and scalable businesses. So you have to highlight your business model to them, your market size, and your traction. Who are the people you're going to reach? In exchange for the money that is capital, these venture capitalists receives an ownership stake in the startup. So they share in your potential profits or the losses of the business. Venture capitalists also offer strategic guidance. They offer mentorship and access to their own professional networks to help the startup they back succeed. So let's say Salma from Zanzibar, Tanzania, has met, let's say, has met with a venture, because most of these venture capitalists, sometimes they are major businesses, like 2 or 3 people together that have like huge trust fund coming together to create a venture capitalist firm. So let's use Sequoia Capital, for example. Salma goes to them and says, I need some cash for this. They invest 5 million naira in Salma because let's say she has this nice tech application that she's building. And they're like, oh, we see potential here. And so they invest in Salma. And investing in Salma means I'm going to give you this money, but it's in exchange for equities, in exchange for, a stake in the organization. Salma will then have to stop and think and ask herself, do I want to proceed? Do I not want to proceed? But this is usually how these investors come in. Now, venture capitalists are usually firms, and they are using pooled money from many investors, targeting startups that can scale fast. There are businesses that can scale fast. There are businesses, when we talk about startups and businesses, you have to think about, can my business succeed if I'm not there? For example, creating an application for people to use. You don't necessarily have to, let me use another example. Let me start with, let's say you are a POS vendor. Yes, you can have different POS outlets, but the truth of the matter is it can't really scale because you need human beings to physically be present as of now until maybe the technology for running POS businesses ends. You need human beings to be there, present, to take the cards, swipe the cards. So startups are things that you start from ground up, and then eventually at some point in time, they are able to reach this level where you don't physically need to be there, like, creating an application that helps with solving world hunger. People go to that application, users go to that application, interact with it, and you're generating your income without physically monitoring everything that is there because you've written codes that can understand, oh, this is the function this person wants from this. But I digress. Now, venture capitalists are usually firms. using a lot of money from different other investors, and they target startups that can scale really fast. Now we're going to move on to private equity. These people they typically invest in mature companies. So venture capitalist startups, private equity, mature companies with stable cash flow. You're no longer, would I say, trying to catch your breath where doing business is concerned. So these companies that they come to invest in, they are companies that they've understood the inner workings of operation. They understand, okay, this is what we do, this is what we do, this is our steady cash flow. Let's say you're a baker, for example, and you are also a caterer, but every day you're certain that this my baking business, in my store, I'm selling at least 10 cakes per day. You're able to comfortably do that because it's sort of like a mature business. It's stable. The cash flow, it's coming from there. You might also go to other catering events. It might be another stream of income from a baking enterprise, but you obviously know that this is where the money comes from. This is the major cash flow. So these private equity investors, they invest in, mature companies that know, okay, that understand this is who we are, this is where we get money from, and it's stable. It's not one day on, one day off, like, or let's try this method. No, they've already built their business. They've been in the business of baking for years. And they focus on financial performance and your plan for growth. That's private equity. Now, private equity is also a type of medium to long-term business finance, and it's designed to help more mature businesses grow. Let's use Blackstone, a private equity firm like Blackstone. They buy a large stake in, let me look for somebody's name here, in Ogechi Uba baking business. So a private equity firm like Blackstone buys a large stake in Ogechi's established food processing company. Now, what they do is, after buying a large stake, they can decide to restructure it. They can also decide to sell it. Because now they have the largest stake, they have the largest equity in that organization. And so it's believed that they have the power to change things around, turn things around, rebrand the business, and also sell it for profit. And this is why they focus on mature businesses, not early startups, because early startups, they're literally just struggling to find what works for them and what doesn't work. And so in mature business, you're sure that, okay, when I'm buying into this company, they already understand who they are, what they're about. I'm not trying to come and figure anything out. So I'm coming in with my own idea, and I think it's going to do better in this way, or rather, I think I'll just change things up and sell it to another person. Those are private equity investors. Hope you guys are understanding everything I'm talking about. I can see a question here. Please don't forget to put your question in the Q&A section. But is this the same as the Dragon's Den program on TV? Don't know if you know. Yes, I do know the program, and yes, you see when people come and then they are pitching to their investors. Sometimes they don't even bring slides. Sometimes they bring a prop to show, oh, this is what my business can do. But when they are presenting, they have an idea of financials, they have an idea of where they are scaling it to. They are not stuttering, they're not like, I think, no thinking there. You have to come with your A game, and this is what a pitch deck helps you to do. Now, the next one we're going to be looking at is impact investors. Unlike these other investors that we talked about, impact investors, they their major intention when investing is to generate positive, measurable social and environmental impact alongside financial returns. So their focus is, am I going to be impactful socially, environmentally? Like, is my impact, going to be positive when I give out this fund? Now, it doesn't mean that they don't have at the back of their mind the need to make financial return. So let's take, for example, an organization like Acumen. Acumen Fund, they invest in a solar energy company in rural Africa. They're expecting both returns and positive social impact because they're supplying affordable, clean energy in a rural part of Africa. And then this positive social impact is their major, like, where they can also, would I say, leverage on to other investors like, hey, we're doing this, we're investing here, clean energy. They can even get funding from big bodies like the United Nations that is very particular about sustainable development, goals. And these people, they seek profits and measurable social, environmental good. So in short, an impact investors, they're not like charity. They fund businesses that solve problems and makes money. So understanding what each type of investor looks for can literally help you tailor your pitch to their interests. So let's say all you just want is money. Money to scale. You can go to the banks. Or I want somebody to mentor me, but I don't want them to have a high stake in my business. You can use angel investors. It just all depends on where you want your business to be and how far you want to take it to. So we spend so much time on this. We're going to be moving on to understanding your investors and their interests. Now, for angel investors, like I said, one of their preference is early stage startups, and it's often in sectors they are familiar with. The expectation is they own equity and high return on investment. They're usually willing to take risks with you because they're familiar with the sector. Sometimes they might even come into your business and switch things up because they're not afraid to take risks. Now, for venture capitalists, their preference is usually startups in high growth sector with proven business models like tech. Sometimes a food business too. Export imports, they can decide, okay, this is a startup, yes, but I believe I see potentials, I see growth in this particular startup. And there has been, over time, a proven business model that I think would work for this particular startup. So they come in. And their expectation is it produces a high return on their investment, and they often want involvement in strategic decisions. They are not as risk-taking as angel investors, but one way or the other, doing business is ultimately a risk, but they are not as high. They are less risk tolerance than angel investors. Now, for impact investors, they usually favor businesses that generate positive social and environmental impact alongside financial returns. If the business that they're going to invest in is going to create a very good positive impact, like solving the issue of low power in rural communities. Hello, can anybody hear me? Can you also see my screen? Okay, thank you. I can see, oh, thank you for your emojis. I can see your questions. Okay. My voice is breaking. We can hear, oh, thank you. I just wanted to understand if I was okay. We're going to be moving on. So sorry for that interruption. So, like I said, impact investors, they focus on businesses that generate positive social and environmental impact alongside financial returns. We're solving world hunger. We want to give to this, we want to end lack of education for kids, for girl child. They invest because it's going to give them a positive social and environmental impact. And it's also going to, okay, this organization is known for this. People reach out to them, you can scale. They invest, and their major preference is it generates this impact for them, social and environmental impact. Their expectation, financial return, measurable positive social slash environmental impact. Now, for the last one, which is private equity investors, they focus on mature, established companies with steady cash flows. The expectation is a stable and consistent return on investment. They are not looking to help you solve any problem. They just want, okay, this is a good business. This can help us grow. This can help our profit margin, and they are usually at the helm of affairs in making decisions because they are buying a large portion of your business. So now we are going to be moving on to the next slide. Can anybody see the next slide? I believe so, because I'm seeing it. Okay. Now, understanding your investors and their interests. Angel investors, like I've talked about, people that usually approach them are entrepreneurs in early stage of their business. They need seed funding. They need mentorship also because maybe it's a new industry they are entering into, and they need connections in that industry. So you can approach an angel investor. For venture capitalists, they focus more on established startups that have a proven business model, and they can scale and absorb large investments. You're not you're not so young in the business, but you're not also so old. They come, they see potential, oh, this thing can be scalable, and then you can approach them. Now, the impact investors, they want to see businesses with a strong mission aligned with social or environmental impact, having a viable financial model. Let's take, for example, you are an NGO focusing on women, Impact Her, for example. Let me not use Impact Her so that you not say I'm biased. Let's use something neutral. Let's say your thing is education. You can apply for grants like a MasterCard that, they are very, very involved in ensuring that, okay, females are educated. You can approach these foundations because your business aligns with, their own social and environmental impacts. And not just that, you also have a viable financial model. Like, okay, even though this is going to be for girls, this is where the cash flow would come in. The next thing we're going to be talking about is our private equity investors, who are the best approached by. Mature companies reach out to them seeking to grow and restructure or enter new markets. Let's say you've been running a business for 10, 15 years and you're like, I've been doing this business for a while. I think I need something new. I think I want to, diversify and take it into this new market. You can reach out to them because already you know that your company is a mature company and you're not just a mature company, you're seeking to diversify what you do, what your business does for people, and they come in. So having understood your investors and their interests, we're going to be moving on to understanding your like pitching tips, still under understanding your investors and their interests. For angel investors, when you're pitching to them, you have to show your passion and potential for high returns. You have to highlight the unique selling point of your idea. If you're a business person here on this session and you don't know what your unique selling point is, I implore you to go back, sit down, and ask yourself, okay, what is that unique thing that I want to give to people? You have to understand this. You have to also emphasize your team's experience and dedication. You can't come and tell me that you're selling solar energy and nobody on your team, maybe even your technical team, nobody understands what, nobody has that technical expertise on solar panels or installation, like nobody. You literally shoot yourself. You're literally shooting yourself in the head because you're telling them, yes, I have the idea, but ideas cannot sell. Just ideas cannot sell. You need a strong team. You need a strong team with the appropriate experience and dedication, consistent dedication in this particular thing you're pitching to these angel investors. Now, for the venture capitalists, you have to demonstrate a clear path to profitability. Like you have to tell them, oh, I'm going to scale here and here and here. This is where, profit is going to come in. This is the time. You have to tell them, oh, don't make them guess. Don't make them, scratch their heads to get, oh, where are we going to, get this profit from? Because they're going to obviously be investing large amounts of money. Secondly, it must be scalable, and they have to have like a strong exit strategy. An exit strategy is simply how an investor plans to get their money back plus the profits after investing in your business. Because angel investors, venture capitalists, and even private equity firms, they don't put their money in forever. They are looking for ways where, okay, I can exit this business after having spent this amount of time here because the business has grown enough and they've made my profit and I've been able to also get the capital that I pushed into this business. So it has to have a strong exit strategy and provide comprehensive market analysis and financial projections. I asked earlier on in this session, like, does anybody know what the financial projection is? Basically, where financially, where we are going to be at so and so time. They want to see this in whatever pitch you're giving to them. Now, for the impact investors, you have to clearly communicate the social and environmental impact your business will have, your proven model of sustainability and scalability, and you need to show evidence of achieved impact. If all these things are not in your pitch to an impact investor, it's like, why are you pitching to them? Because what's the impact your business is going to make? What's the social impact? What's the environmental impact? They're usually all about sustainability and scalability, and they want to see your workings. They want to see, oh, this person knows what you're talking about. And lastly, for private equity investors, you have to demonstrate consistent profitability. You have to articulate plans for growth or restructuring if that's what you're moving for. And you have to showcase that you have a strong management team that can handle, let's say, a restructuring. You have to tell them, oh, we are built for this. Come in, speak to us. That's how you speak to these different sorts of investors. Now, there are key ingredients of winning pitch decks, like winning the hearts of whatever investors you're trying to reach out to. The number one thing is introduction. So a brief profile of you, your team, highlighting relevant experience and, your roles and how it ties into this business that you guys are doing. Number two is business idea. Is it clear? Do you have an engaging summary of your product or the service offering? And what's the uniqueness about this idea that you're bringing into the market? What makes you stand out from every other business? Number three is industry overview. A brief analysis of your industry, like the niche that you've decided, oh, I'm going to be in. Do you have an analysis of that particular industry? Do you understand, the size and the trends going on in that industry? Hope you guys are taking notes. The fourth one is your business model and market analysis, a quick overview of revenue generation, your target market, and its potentials. Last one, financial. Second to the last, sorry, financials. So a snapshot of key financial projections and your closing. It must be strong, a strong emphasis on your unique value proposition and the investment opportunity. Now we're going to be looking at them individually. So your introduction, you have to, let's say you're presenting your team. You explain who is on your team, their roles in the team, like everybody, what are their roles, and any other relevant experience, and show these investors why your team is uniquely qualified to execute this business plan that you've pushed forward. You have to highlight key team members and their roles in the business. You have to provide a brief overview of their relevant experience and achievements. So let's say, for example, I am a tech, business. I'm trying to pitch something about tech. When I create my pitch deck and I meet the team, the first person that they are introduced to is a CEO who has over 10 years experience in the tech industry. Automatically, you've sort of given them ease, like, okay, yes, tech, it makes perfect sense. She has worked in this industry for years. She understands, her way around. And then you don't just stop there. You talk about your experiences. I did this at this place. I led projects in company A and company B and led to this return. You're now giving them numbers. And then, you also go on to like tell them you oversaw, strategic decision in creating maybe an application like ChatGTP. You've not even really told them what you're about, but you've created, okay. This person knows what they are doing. She knows what she's talking about. Now, the next is your business idea. You have to define your product or your service where business idea is concerned. You can't just, let's say you're selling a pen. Every year there are lots of pens in the market. But my pen, when you write on it, if a child writes on it on the wall, you can use a paper and it will clean. See, you've defined strategically what that your pen is doing. And you've also stated the problem that pen that you want to sell solves. And you've also, in a sense, in one sentence, you've given them, what makes that pen that you're selling unique. So you don't have to do something different no, there is enough space for everybody to fly. You just have to look inward and tell yourself, okay, what am I trying to solve? What makes my own product extremely unique? What makes it stand out from other products available in the market? That's your business idea. Now, moving on, let's take an example. If, for example, I'm introducing something that has to do with healthcare, I want to revolutionize rural healthcare. And I create, let's say, an app, which is quick and easy, and it gives people in the rural community affordable healthcare at their fingertip. Because let's say not everybody has the money to drive to a town and get the healthcare that they need. So you've solved this problem for them. Now, your target market, you're focusing on underserved rural communities. And what is your unique selling point? Bridging the healthcare gap through technology. Can you see? You've already, like, your business idea is not something vague. It's not something also voluminous. It's just simple. You don't have to, when doing business, I've often noticed that people think the more complex your business is, the more potential it has to be invested in. It's really not the case. Because when you look around you, there are really simple things that need solving that nobody has really taken the time to stop and actually say, oh, this is a problem that needs to be solved here because this is the amount of people it's affecting. So even in your personal life, like even if you have a business right now that you're doing, and you've not identified something unique, that it's simple and easily scalable. I've often found that the simplest things in life are usually much more scalable than complexity. But I digress. So now, with this example, like I said, we have been able to tell them, oh, this is what my app does. This is my target audience. This is my target market. And this is my unique selling point. Moving on to industry overview. When you're researching, when you're, pitching to these investors, you have to research your industry to gather relevant data. You can't come and tell somebody that, let's say the investor that you're trying to pitch is in that particular industry that you're pitching to, and you just start talking about these people are dying, people don't show up to work. You're not giving them numbers. You're not telling them that, oh, before I actually thought about doing this business, I actually sat down to do my research. I got data. Over 70 million people as of, see, you even be taken more seriously if you're able to come into a space and really point out, oh, I have done my research. You're not just coming to collect money. You're telling them, oh, as much as yes, I am coming to collect your money, but I've also done my research. And collecting your money is also going to help me solve this problem that has persisted over the years as a function of this resource that, you just sound so eloquent and so easy to believe. And then you present data on market size and growth. So market size is literally a quantitative measure of a market's total sales or demand for a specific product or service within a given period. Then next up, you can identify the key trends affecting your industry. Let's say it's a tech industry, or let's use, for example, the previous example on healthcare access. You tell them, oh, most people in rural communities have found that they don't often have the help that they need, and it's affecting healthcare. So this is what my application, very simple. The mobile, for example, the um, mobile healthcare industry is what $50 billion today, and it's projected to grow. You've given them numbers. It's projected to grow at 20% over the next 5 years. You've sort of told them, oh, I've done my research, I know what I'm talking about, and that's that. Does anybody have a question for me? Let me see. Somebody said, I have issue with my financials. Okay, Uba. I have issues with my financials, my financial projections. I don't know how to go into that in the pitch deck. I believe that's the question you're asking. Well, we're going to get into all of that in this slide. Well, you can't really tell the exact numbers with financial, I think you meant to write projections on your pitch because there are unforeseen circumstances in running businesses, but you have to have an idea. It's like project management when you're deciding to do a project. You know, even when you say, I'm going to use just this amount of money, there will be something that will come up. Especially if you're in Nigeria, electricity, for example, you say, okay, we want to do this, and then we don't need to buy so much fuel because there's constantly the next day, that's when there will be power cuts. So, yes, you don't have to have the exact, but you have to have a particular number that makes your pitch believable. But make sure to please put your questions in the Q&A box because I am my Yes. My moderators would be able to answer them faster than I would, because obviously I'm here teaching. So we're going to be moving on with the absence of no further question. Number 4, the business model and market analysis. Number 1, you have to identify your main revenue stream. That means, how does your business make money? Ask yourself personally, if you're doing business, what are my customers paying me for? What exactly are they paying me for? And it could be product sales. Let's say you have a plantain chips business. It could be the sale of that plantain chips. If you have a bakery, it could be the sale of your confection. Or it could be for service, for consulting, for training, for also ensuring that, okay, people understand. Let's say you're a food business, your own business idea in a food business industry is to teach people about how to portion control for profitability. How many scoops of rice am I going to put in a plate that will get me break down things easily for other entrepreneurs in that space to understand, okay, this is my profit margin, this is my loss. So that is what you're selling, a service. You can also be selling subscriptions, monthly plantain chips delivery, an online course on how to cost. Monthly online courses, that's a subscription. People can literally pay for it. Or you are commission based. You host trade fairs, you get a commission from it. You're a travel booking agency. You're literally in the middle of people getting where they want to be. You have a commission for that particular service you're rendering. Another example is a bakery. I can use a bakery, for example. A bakery's main revenue stream might be selling cakes and pastries. But then on the side, maybe you are so industrious and you can decide, oh, since I sell cakes and pastries, I can also cater for events. But my major source of income is product sales. So you have to define your target audience also, which means who are your ideal customers? Hope you all know that it's not everybody that you're going to sell to. You have to be specific. You have to think about the age. You have to also think about the location that you're choosing to sell in. Obviously, if you're selling in a rural area, it'll be very, very different from selling in an urban area. So you have to think these things through. You have to think about the income level, the lifestyle and the needs. Instead of saying, everyone, try to narrow it down. Let's take, for example, if you sell plantain chips, your target markets could be, urban professionals and students in Lagos between the ages of 18 to 35 who want affordable on-the-go snacks. So if anybody here is selling plantain chips, I've already given you expo on how to strategically place yourself. And then number 3, why is your offering needed in the market? This is about your value proposition, the problem that you can solve, the gap that you're able to fill, what makes your customers choose you instead of other people. It could be as a function of, better quality, which might be there is no preservative in your confection. It could be as a function of convenience. Usually when I book from this person, I know that I'm not going to leave my house to eat today. They will bring it to my room, my bedroom. That might be what your value proposition is. It can also be affordability. From the wealth of businesses available, it's affordable, even though, yes, things are high, but then they make sure that it's affordable and it's so tasty. This confection is so tasty. I'm not having to, break my teeth when I want to, bite into a piece of cake because it's so fluffy and affordable. That's what your unique proposition can be. It can also be innovation, tech solutions, fashion designs. Okay, how can I create designs? We can create an application for tailors to use that cuts down the time that they used to sketch. So if we look at, for example, a juice business, your juice business is needed because people are becoming very health conscious. They are very particular about health. They don't want any preservatives. They want their drinks natural instead of, this Coke and Fanta, these sugary sodas available. That's your unique offering to your market. So we're going to be moving on to business model and market analysis. Now, your revenue streams, there are different revenue streams that you can utilize, and your own personal revenue streams can be based on a combination of the following. We're going to be looking at number one, your product sale. For example, are you selling physical goods or digital products? If you're selling physical goods, you obviously know, okay, this is the stream. This is where, okay, I'm getting it from here and here. You also service fee, like, okay, there's a fee to get my service for you to, pick my brain and get understanding on how to move your business forward. There's that. You can come to me, okay, I need help here. I've been running a business for so long and I feel like I'm not even making profit, but then I have customers. Then we sit down together, I consult. But for every hour I'm spending with you, I make my money. It can also be a repair service. Oh, my gas has spoiled. I come in, I repair, I go. Subscription fees, monthly subscription for a software product. Let's use ChatGTP, for example. You can use the free version, but then there's a monthly fee to access better and richer products, or Gemini, any one of these AI platforms that we use, generative AI platforms that we use now. And then we also have advertising revenue, revenue generated from ad placement. You have, let's say, a billboard. And then you can decide to lease your billboards out for people to market their businesses, but you have your own particular cut from that advertisement that people are making. Your licensing fee, and then your commission fee. Like for every work that I do, if I book, if I'm a travel agency and I book, would I say tickets for people, I have a commission that I'm going to take a percentage for every transaction that I make through your platform. So these are business models and, market analysis. Hope you guys understood what, I was talking about. We're going to be looking at an example, which is Uber. We're going to be looking at Uber's revenue streams. I can see there is no question, so I'm going to be moving on. Okay, yes. So business model and market analysis. Our case study today is going to be Uber. Before the advent of, I'm in Nigeria, I don't know any other car hailing services that are available in various countries, but I'm going to talk about Uber. Uber came into existence, I think, before Bolt. Yes, before Bolt, before the advent of InDrive and various other car hailing services. And Uber's primary revenue stream is commission-based. That is, they take a percentage from their drivers for every fare. For every trip, they have a commission. It can be 20% or 25%, but they are getting the money from that commission-based system. So plenty of people subscribe to their platform. Yes, you're making money, but at the end of the day, there is a 20 to 25% commission that they are getting. That's a way to make money. A service fee also. So Uber charges drivers a service fee for using their own technology and their platform. Everybody can drive, but they have been able to give you a platform where anybody in the world can reach you. So you pay for that. They've cut down, the need for you to call, let's say, a private taxi, and the taxi will charge you an arm and a leg. They've said, okay, anybody anywhere can reach you through our platform, through our technology, but you're going to pay us a fee. And now the last one is your advertising revenue. So Uber's in-app advertising or advertisements rather, it provides another source of revenue. You can advertise in-app, but then they're getting their own cash flow from there. You see how I don't know if you've used apps where you're using the app for something else, but then there's an ad that pops up. I think YouTube does that, yes. YouTube is making money from it. It's not just, it's not just to waste your time. That's another revenue stream for them. Not just the fact that people subscribe. No, they're different. So your business can have like five different revenue streams, but it's still offering, it's still offering the same thing, but then when you dissect it for these your investors, for them, you say, okay, here we're getting money, here we're getting. They're like, oh, this is excellent, this is wonderful. I would love to partner with this person because they understand what I want. They understand, okay, I'm all about profit, and then I can see that they've been able to break things down and understand, okay, we can get money here, we can get money here, we can get money here. Now, the next thing we're going to be talking about is business model and market analysis. Your target market can be based on any combination of the following: your demographics. Is it women aged 18 to 35 or men aged 18 to 35 you're trying to reach? Is your geographic location residents of, urban areas in Ghana or Nigeria or Malawi? Your psychographics. Are you eco-conscious consumers? Are you conscious about, okay, what people put in their body? Behaviors, is it frequent online shoppers you're trying to reach? And your industry, are they small to medium enterprises in the tech sector? It can be much more than I talked about. But you have to have like a demographics there, because obviously it's human beings that will consume your product. So who are you trying to reach out to? What location? What's that particular thing that makes your business excellent? So now we're going to be moving on to business model and market analysis. We're still talking about Uber's target market. So for example, the demographic is urban commuters of all ages. Uber cannot stay in a rural area because most of them would rather prefer, I'm not saying Uber cannot, but most times, most people in urban communities need to move around. They need to meet one needs or the other. But half the time in rural communities, they don't have that, would I say, need to move about with ease. Some of them are so stuck in their ways that an innovative platform like Uber can be introduced to their space and they would still choose their own primitive way of moving around. So their demographics for Uber is urban commuters of all ages, geographic residents of urban areas worldwide, psychographics, convenience seeking, where they're also looking for tech savvy consumers, because if you don't know how to operate simple technology, you might not be able to navigate their user interface. And then behavior, we're looking at frequent travelers or those without, personal transportation. So they've broken things down. They've broken down their business model. They've broken down how they're going to enter into the market. They've analyzed everything down to the behavior of people that are going to interact with their platform. Sorry, time is fast spent, and then I want us to just move ahead quickly. Now, business model and market analysis. This is for your market and the customer's needs. You have to identify your customer's pain points. And when you identify your customer's pain points, it allows you to create solutions your customers find valuable. You're not creating a business that is adding to their pain. You're solving a problem for them. And there are benefits of being customer centric. A customer centric business succeeds because you understand and serve the needs of these customers you're trying to reach out to. Don't be so arrogant to think what you need is what everybody needs. So you have to do your market analysis. You have to do your customers analysis. You have to understand their needs. And when your organization is customer centric, it drives innovation, it fosters loyalty. People are like, oh, even though I've never interacted with this person before, she's able to solve my problem, and then I've introduced her to my friend. You see, you're building a community that is ultimately growing because you were focused on what your customers would need. For example, what are you selling? What's your product? Who are you selling to? A business model is literally the plan of how your business makes money. It basically explains what you're selling, who you're selling to, how you make money from them, what resources and activities you need. Let's use a plantain chips business, for example. You're selling packaged plantain chip. That is what you sell. Who are you selling to? You're selling to students, you're selling to workers, you're selling to supermarkets, you're selling to catering events. How do you make money? Your profit margin is on every part you sell. So the business model you're going to use, like you're going to buy raw plantain at a cheaper rate. You're going to then turn this plantain that you've bought at a cheaper rate into packaged chips, selling at a higher price to people that love snacking. Simple. Now we're going to be talking about the business model and market analysis. Are you guys with me so far? I hope I'm not rushing. Thank you. So, our business model and market analysis, we are going to be uncovering customers' pain points. Number one, your market research. Have you investigated the industry you're seeking to enter into? Have you understood your competitors? To understand, okay, these people that I'm going to be competing with in this particular industry, this is my, okay, this is where I'm going to interact with my customers. These are the potential challenges that their own customers have faced. You have to do your market research. You have to use online tools to directly ask, your customers about their needs and difficulties. And that's where survey comes in. If I don't know, if you don't ask questions, you can't really know, what people are struggling with, what your customers are struggling with. You might have an idea, a slight idea, because maybe you live in that environment, but ultimately, surveys help you to understand, okay, what are the needs of my customers, the people I'm trying to reach. Then you also do user interviews. You hold one-on-one conversations with customers for deeper insights into their experiences. When you, for example, as a business person, you have a business and you make sales today, you ask your customer, how was it? Did you enjoy the experience? Did you like what you got from us? What could we improve on? You can have these interviews with like series of people and then have direct customer feedback. You can, get reviews and suggestions, on areas your business can improve. If we use Uber as an example, Uber identified a customer's pain point, that is the difficulty in hailing a cab in busy cities through research. They addressed this particular problem by then creating a user-friendly app which allows their customers to book a ride with just a few taps on their phone. So this is Uber's strategy. What's your strategy? Business model and market analysis. Hope you guys are with me so far. I'm trying to get it all in because yes, Olabisi said feedback is essential for any business. Yes. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. So your business model, we're still under business model and market analysis. Now we're going to be talking about what your market needs, Does your what needs your market? What market needs does your own product and your service meet? Is it convenient like Uber? Is it efficient? Every time I use the app, am I constantly having issues navigating the user interface? Is it affordable? Would I much rather wait to hail a taxi than use Uber as an app? Is there luxury in using Uber? Am I having to sit with five different people that I do not know, where they are? Or I'll much rather just the ease and just the quiet when I'm commuting back from work to my home. And is it innovative? So you have to, tick all these boxes when you're creating a service or a product. Moving on, we're going to be talking about the market needs met by Uber. Like I said, convenience. Uber provides an on-demand service that can be accessed anywhere at any time. It's efficient. Uber uses technology to connect drivers and riders in real time. So you're not having to wait for hours. You're not even struggling with, the application because it's constantly available for you to use. Affordability, Uber provides a cost-effective alternative to traditional taxis. I don't know if any one of you have used traditional taxis before, but because it's just a one-man business, there's nobody that is going to hold them accountable. There's no policy framework for, okay, how much are you going to price? Sometimes a trip that takes you less than that, it depends on their mood. If it's raining, they can increase it like much more. If it's really sunny, they'll tell you, oh, we don't have AC. If you want to use AC, you can. But then for something like Uber, you can literally get everything at an affordable rate. You're not having to think, oh, how much will I pay this time around? No, it's all there for you to see. Innovation, you guys know Uber has revolutionized the transportation industry with its platform-based business model. And that's why you had after Uber, things like Bolt started coming up. We have InDrive now and so many other um, driving transportation platforms. Now, we are looking at financial projections next. Now, when you talk about financial projections, they're simply your educated estimates of future income and expenses in your business. And it usually covers 1 to 3 years, sometimes 5 years. They show whether your business idea is financially viable. For example, let's use a business that projects a revenue growth from $1 million in year one to $5 million in year three. And they assume a 10% conversion rate from their own target market. So when you highlight these key assumptions, you're simply explaining, oh, these are the guesses or the conditions that I used to create these numbers. When I answered the question earlier on from the person that said, would I get all my financial projections before I pitch to investors? The truth is you can't really get everything. Sometimes you're taking guesses. Sometimes you're doing extensive research as a function of understanding your market. And based on these guesses, based on this research, you can now create numbers, viable numbers, estimates. And why does this move matters? It matters because you're able to, it makes your projections, it makes whatever you're pitching credible. There's logic to what you're pitching. You're not just saying that I'm going to do this in 3 years and I need this amount of money. No, you're creating a link between what you're saying and what your numbers are also, what the numbers you're asking for mean. It shows your investors, or let's say your banks that you're trying to maybe get a loan from, what could change, if let's say plantain prices skyrocket tomorrow, the profit is definitely going to shrink because in your pitch you wrote, oh, this is the price of plantain here, but then on some months, because plantain is a seasonal produce, it's this, you're giving them a picture of what to expect in a season when plantain is not as abundant as it is at the moment maybe you were pitching. It allows you to also adjust quickly if reality differs from assumption. So it's a projection. It's not really a financial statement. You're projecting, you're forecasting like, hey, this is my financial projections. This is my estimates of, my company's future revenues, expenses, and where we're going to be making profits. But it doesn't mean that it's fixed in stone because projections are about the future. And the future, like I said, is uncertain. So investors, banks, or even you as a business person, you need to know what you're assuming. Let's use, I've been using plantain chips. If a plantain chip costs 500 naira and you assume it won't change for 12 months, monthly, you're going to make a sale, like your sales will grow 10% every month as market your product to every other supermarket in your environment. Now, the reason why you're selling these plantain chips at 500 naira per pack is because you're getting the raw plantain 100 naira per piece. And there's a stability. So you're telling them, oh, for the first 12 months, I'm going to be selling at this particular rate because of the stability of the cost of getting plantains. And then you're going to need, let's say, 3 staff in the year 1, and salaries will not increase until, let's say, year 2. So you see, you've been able to make a projection, like you're going to sell at this particular price as a function of the raw material cost, and then there is a monthly sales revenue, which will be 10%, and you're only going to increase your staff salaries maybe year 2, and you only need three staff for the first year. You've broken things down. It doesn't mean that, these assumptions, something might not change along the line, but, you have, would I say, you have given them something to work with. The basics of financial projections are: 1, market research. You have to study your market. You have to identify the average price points for your product or the service that you're rendering, the size of your target market, the estimated market penetration rates. And then when you get all this information, you use this information to estimate what your profit, what your revenue would be. The next one is your cost estimation, your total cost. You have to identify all your costs, your production costs, your moving about costs, like going to the market, the money you spend going to the market to get your goods, the vendors you interacted with, you have to write it down. Your marketing and sales costs. Yes, I have this product now. How am I going to push it out? I'm going to reach out to this influencer. There's a cost. I'm going to reach out to, there's a cost. Even packaging, a good packaging. Nobody wants to get your product and it's not appealing in the eyes to look at. There's a popular adage, I think my dad used to talk about it. He says, before the stomach will eat, the eyes will first eat. And so you find out that if you're trying to sell something to people and then it's not appealing in their eyes, you're like, what's this? You've lost them even before you started talking to them. And any other overhead. So you have to get those estimations in check. And then your profit projections, you have to subtract, this total cost, this cost of production, operation, you have to subtract all your costs from your revenue to estimate your profits. So if I am spending $10,000 on this for cost and my revenue is $30,000, I would then do the subtraction and get my own profit. Let's use this plantain chips business that we've been talking about. Let's say I sell 20,000 packs of plantain chips for the 500 naira that I talked about. It will give me about 10 million? Yes, 10 million. Now, my cost of raw material was 3 million. My packaging was 1.5 million. The rent, the storage, the warehouse that I put this already packaged good, they cost about 1 million. The salaries of the staff that will produce these plantain chips cost about 2 million. And my marketing is 500,000 naira. Altogether, when I don't know if anybody was taking down the numbers, but if you were, what was the total expense so far from my raw materials to my packaging to my rent to my staff to my marketing? What was like the total cost? Remember, I sold 20,000 packs of plantain chips for 500 naira. 20,000 packs times 500 will give me the amount I sold. I want to check if anybody was taking notes. Yes, so my total expense is eight. Thank you very much. So now, since my Raphael, since my total expense is 8 million, and what I got from sales was 10 million, ultimately my profit is 2 million naira. Yes. So you've gotten your profit. You don't just not because not when you make sales and you think, I've gotten no, you have to break down your costs and push it back into the business and then keep your profit aside for maybe scaling the business or something. Now, there are various key assumptions on, financial projections. You can list out, key assumptions underlying these projections. This can include, your customer acquisition costs. How much does your customer want to pay for this particular good that you're selling? You have to also be conservative or cautious. Don't exaggerate things. Don't say, you're selling cake, for example, and then it's really not organic. There's nothing special about your cake, but you just hiked the price. Just be conservative. Don't don't fly before you run. So, for example, let's say in the slide above, our projections assume a conservative market penetration rate of 1% and an average customer lifetime value of $300 and a customer acquisition cost of $50. So the customer acquisition cost is literally the average amount of money your business spends to get one customer. It then tells you how much you're going to spend on marketing, you're going to spend on sales, or the promotion before one person actually buys from you. So when you're pitching you have to make assumptions because sometimes you might not have done the business before. You have to literally make assumptions, and those assumptions will come from informed research. And sometimes informed research might not literally give you everything you need to know, but you have an idea. And when you're, making these assumptions, you maybe add a little bit to these assumptions that you found out online because maybe the research you read happened 3 or 2 years ago. So things might have changed this time around, and then you increase it a little bit, but you're conservative in your assumption. You're not being too flamboyant. You're just, on a very even level. Now, the last one is the investment opportunity. Investment opportunity is literally your ask from investors. It shows how much funding you're seeking from these investors, what you use it for, and what investors stand to gain. If I'm going to give you 10 million naira today and you don't tell me what I'm going to stand to gain, I'll keep my money in my pocket. So you're going to clearly state how much investment you're seeking. You have to explain how the funds will be used. You have to highlight the expected outcomes or milestones you aim to reach with these investments and outline the potential return for investors. For example, I can say with a $1 million investment, we can expand our service to reach 50% of our target market within 3 years, offering a potential 20% return on investment for our investors. Can you see how I've broken it down? That way, whoever I'm pitching to understands, oh, okay, this person is talking about this makes perfect sense and all. Is there any question for me? Because I'm going to be moving on. Okay. Now we are going to look at the visual representation of our pitch deck. I would advise that you use graphs and charts. I've often found that too much, would I say, too much information. If you're writing text, if you're speaking with a person and you're not giving them like a visual representation, images, they might lose interest because they're not seeing like a growth curve. Like, for example, a visual representation of data makes complex information easier to understand. You can use graphs and charts to present financial projections and market data. For year this was how much plantain sold for. For year this was how much. They're seeing it, they're literally looking at it and they're interacting with it. Also use images, use high quality images to create emotional engagement and also reinforce your brand identity. Make sure your images are relevant to your content. You cannot be telling me about plantain chips and I'm seeing burger on your pictures, on your images. No. Consistency and clarity in your pitch deck. You have to maintain a consistent design throughout your pitch deck. You have been seeing impact hat slides from those of you that started the session with us till now. It hasn't changed. You've not seen a strange, would I say display here. Everything is consistent with our brand. The colors are the same fonts, the style, you literally know, oh, this is impact hat. So the same thing with your presentation, it has to maintain a level of consistency so that I'm not looking at it and then I'm like, what's this person talking about? Or you're overstimulated just by looking at their presentation. It has to also be clear and simple. Keep your language simple. Don't go for too much, Keep it simple and straightforward. Avoid too much technicality when you're talking about industry you're in. And make sure your message is easily understandable, even to those unfamiliar with your industry. You don't want to use any industry jargon. Maybe you are in let me use a food industry, for example, and you're talking about meat, beef broth, and maybe somebody that is your investor might not understand what a broth is or a stock is. So you break it down to them in simple, easy language. Okay. You want to make chicken cubes for food and you're trying to, just make it simple. Don't try to put mystery into what you're trying to present. Because at the end of the day, you're trying to ask them for something. You don't want them to be confused before you even started asking them. So there are pitch decks do's and don'ts. One of the do's, research. Know your investors, know their interests, know the portfolio, who they are, what they look for in startups. Another do is practice. Familiarize yourself with every aspect of your pitch deck. Before you go for a pitching, you sit down with your deck and you read it. You read it to the point where if you're woken up in like if they wake you up in the middle of the night, hey, can you spit it out? So you have to practice, practice, practice. Practice makes perfect. You have to also show proof of concept, showcase, traction, market data, or even a prototype to validate your business. Create a virtual representation of that business. That's prototyping. You keep it concise, deliver key messages in clear, concise manner. And every slide should serve a purpose. Then you end it with an ask. Now, one of the don'ts, never exaggerate claims. Stick to facts. Because you're not talking to people that don't know their onions. And even if they don't, I believe they can link one or two things together. Because they've been in the business of investing longer than you came to ask them for investment. They've had different pitches. So they appreciate your authenticity and transparency. Don't use complicated jargons, be simple, be straightforward. Don't rush your pitch. Take your beautiful time. Yes, they gave you 5 minutes, but take your time. But don't take your time in a way that you're saying one thing 5 times. Explain your ideas clearly. Because if you're rushing, you can literally confuse yourself. Be prepared for questions. Do not neglect questions. Be prepared. Prepare your mind that people are going to ask you questions. And this is your chance to really show them, oh, I know what I'm talking about. I have a depth of knowledge about this business. And forget your passion. To be honest, forget it. Don't forget your passion, rather, because as much as you know what you want to do, you understand what you're doing, your passion for whatever you're talking about can literally sell what you're speaking about. For example, if I don't have a passion to stop world hunger, or if I don't have a passion to help rural communities access healthcare, if I don't believe in what I'm proposing, then why am I speaking about it? If there's no passion in my voice, if there's no real like zest, nobody would buy into what you're selling. So please, I said, don't forget your passion. Now we're going to be looking at examples of a good and bad pitch. Now you see here, can any one of you see my slide? Wow. Okay, okay. Oh, I'm so sorry that your battery is going low, no power here. Okay, okay, thank you. Now, examples of a good and bad pitch. A bad pitch is too wordy. It has no visual aid. There's no data reference, as you can see here. You can see that there's a problem. You see there's problem. It's too wordy. Like this is just too much word. I want to see your graph. I want to see, everything that you've done. In the competition slide, I don't know if you can see the competition slide. It doesn't show the strength or weakness of the company and various other industry players. It's just competition. It's too does not there's no visual aid to engage my senses to, in a sense, stay engaged in what you're saying. And when you look at the team slide, it does not give sufficient information about the team, especially how their background contributes to the company. So this is a good example of a bad pitch, horrible pitch. Now let's go to a good pitch. Can you see that there are better visual aids here? You're able to see, the market research and information, simple and clear words. You're seeing the statistics, you're seeing everything. This is a good example of a great pitch, actually. Now, elevator pitch. We're coming to the end of this session. Elevator pitch is basically a concise, engaging speech designed to spark interest in your business. So let's say you're in an elevator. Imagine you have the duration of an elevator at like 30 seconds, 2 minutes to explain what your organization does. Can you spend 2 minutes to tell me about your organization? No, no bogus words. Just 2 minutes of delightful, consistent reiteration of what you do. You might not have the whole day to tell a person this is what I do, or tell them come to my house, let me show you my. No, but you can have 30 seconds to talk to a person like, let's say, Tony Elminu. You might meet him on the way. In that 30 seconds, do you have something that is engaging enough to spark his interest and tell you, oh, here, take my card? So this is literally what an elevator pitch is about. Now, crafting an elevator pitch. There are elements of an elevator pitch. Your introduction, who are you? What problem does your business solve? And how does your product or this business, this service that you're going to render, how does this product solve this problem? What makes your solution unique or superior to other businesses in your industry? And then you can say, we can continue this conversation here. This is my card, or I'd like to take your questions if you have any, or can I have your, details? Very simple, brief. You don't have to spend up to, would I say, 3 minutes talking about an elevator pitch. Once your elevator pitch exceeds 2 minutes, it's too much because the amount of time an elevator would take to take you from the first floor to maybe the second floor, let's say there are 3 floors, might not be up to 5 minutes. So you want to get your elevator pitch in check, and this is how you do it. And then there are various tips I'm going to share with you today on how to craft your elevator pitch. Like I said, keep it concise. Aim for about 30 seconds to 2 minutes. You engage with your audience. You start with a question or a compelling fact. Most times there is a tip I've learned. If you start interacting with a person, asking them a question, you're literally forcing them to think. And you have engaged them. The moment you know that you've engaged them or you've gotten their attention, then you focus on the problem you want to solve and why your solution. You focus on, the problem to the question you asked earlier on and why this solution that you are creating is pertinent and unique. And don't forget to practice. You can't today wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to talk to Tony Elumelu today. No, you have to practice. And it might not even start from Tony Elumelu. It might even start with your siblings, your parents. Talk to them. Ask them questions. What I said to you, does it make sense? What can you take from this? And then they'll give you criticism, constructive criticism for you to take back and practice again. And then lastly, do not forget to end your elevator pitch with a call to action. End whatever call, whatever interaction, end it with a question or, future interactions that you'd like to take up with them. Remember, an example of an elevator pitch. Hello, I'm Fatima, introduction, the founder of this. She has introduced herself. Then she asks a question. Did you know that over 70% small-scale farmers in Kenya have no access to modern farming technologies, which results in revenue loss of 10 million shillings each year for farmers? See, that's the problem she has outlined. Then she went further to say, my business, AgriHelp, is a mobile app providing. She has literally listed everything out here. She has introduced herself. She has asked that question. She has provided a solution that her application, that her business is doing, and what makes it unique and different from every other app that people are creating. And then she goes further to say, would you like to join us in revolutionizing farming for thousands of small-scale farmers? It's a question. For example, if you use a plantain chips business now, we can start with, did you know that over 60% of Nigerians snack daily? But most options are unhealthy and full of preservatives. At Impact Her or at Oluchiba's brand, we produce fresh, healthy, and affordable plantain chips, packaged for busy students and professionals, unlike regular roadside chips. Ours is hygienically processed, well-branded, less oils, available in major supermarkets, and we're currently selling 5,000 packs monthly and looking to expand distribution across Lagos. I'd love to discuss how you can support us to scale. Simple. This did not take up to 3 minutes. So elevator pitch, practicing your pitch. You have to practice your pitch because it's crucial and it helps you refine your delivery. It helps you strengthen your story, and you're also able to anticipate questions because you understand what exactly it is that you're talking about. Remember, it's not just about what you want to say, but how you say it. Most times, some of you can bear me witness. Sometimes we might want to communicate something, but what we are saying is literally not what's in our head. So we're almost at the end of this session. I'll also implore you guys to rehearse your pitches out loud. It'll feel strange. Yes, I'm talking to myself. Why am I talking to myself? But rehearse it out loud. Like, just talk. You ask for feedback. Before you ask for feedback, you obviously would have been timing yourself while you're rehearsing. Oh, have I gone way more than 3 minutes? Have I gone way more than 2 minutes? Okay, I have to cut this, remove this from this and that. Then after asking for feedback, you record yourself and watch yourself speaking. You play it back to understand, okay, I was stuttering here, I was doing this here, and I wasn't excellent in this timestamp. And then you continue you continue practicing. Practice, we say, makes perfect. The more comfortable you are with your pitch, the more confidently you deliver it when it matters most. Now, here's a scenario. You're a tech-savvy entrepreneur based in Ghana, wherever you want to be based in, and you have a passion for e-commerce. You've noticed that there is a significant number of artisans and craftsmen who create beautiful high quality products, but struggle to find wider markets for their goods rather. And you do believe an online marketplace will solve this particular problem by connecting these talented artisans with consumers all over Africa and beyond. Your task is to create a compelling 1 minute elevator pitch using the knowledge that you've gained from this particular course. And then you need to remember to include the problem, the solution, your unique selling point, and a hook to continue the conversation. Write it down and share it with the group. So that's your task for today. Did you all get it? Oh, thank you, Maxine. Oh, Jamila said we need more time. Time is fast spent. Okay, I should take you back to the slide. Okay, I'll do that now. Can you see the slide? Okay, I'm going to move on to the next one. So this is my domain. Very good. Now, this is your task to create a compelling elevator pitch. Please take screenshots. We will not be sharing our slides. We don't usually share our slides. So please take screenshots if you want to. I've given you my own solution. But you all are going to give me your solution. You all are going to give me your solution. It's because time is far spent. Yes. So this is my own solution, my own personal solution. So please take your time to do the exercise at your own spare time. So we're going to do an assessment, if you guys don't mind. I've spent so much time here. But there are key takeaways before your assessment. Number one, pitch deck is important. It needs to be concise, it needs to be compelling, and it needs to be consumer focused and customer focused. You have to understand your investors, essential elements, which are your introduction, your business idea, industry overview, and then you have to practice your pitch. With that, I'm going to just ask a few questions. What is the main purpose of a pitch deck? You can send your answers here. You can type it out in the chat box. Yes. Yes, the main purpose of a pitch deck is to outline business models and strategies. Excellent. Thank you all for indulging me. Now, which of the following is not a type of investor mentioned in the presentation? Is it angel investors, venture capitalists, crowdfunding platforms, private equity investors? Yes, C. Okay. Now, what do angel investors typically look for? Oh no. Yes. What do angel investors typically look for in a pitch? Go on. Strong exit strategies or scalability, positive social or environmental impact, ownership equity, and high returns. Yes. Ownership equity and high returns. Correct. Which element is not part of a winning pitch deck? Introductions, financial projections, unique selling propositions, employee handbook. That must be easy. D. Okay. Not C, it's actually D. What should be included in the introduction section of a pitch deck? Financial goals, roles and relevant experience of the team, advertising strategies, and revenue streams. Yes, it's B actually. Then what is the unique selling point of Uber as a case study? Low prices only, providing luxury rides exclusively, revolutionizing transportation with a platform-based model, or limiting service to urban areas. Number 6 is actually C. Yes, not B. Yes, yes, yes. You guys are getting it. Okay. Um, I have to stop here. I have thoroughly enjoyed this. Okay. Let me just take these 3 questions. What are financial projections in a pitch deck used for? Come on. We're almost done. Providing estimates for future. Excellent. Okay, you guys were literally paying attention. Now, the next question is, what is a key feature of an effective elevator pitch? It should exceed 5 minutes. It should use technical jargon. It is concise, engaging. Please, your answers. Yes, it is C. Oh, wow. Now, the last question, which is, what is one of the primary benefits of being customer-centric? Drives innovation and growth, reduces production costs, increases market segmentation, removes the need for market research. A is actually A. Okay. Thank you all for your time. Thank you very much for your time. I'm really grateful that you had me today, and I'm very, very happy that we had a lovely session. Have a lovely day, and I do believe I'm so thankful for your time. For those of you that stayed even when you had, low battery, thank you for engaging with our content. Please give us a follow on Instagram, Twitter. Thank you so much. And Machit Patrick would give a vote of thanks. I would introduce her now. Machit Patrick, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. Good morning.
Okay, thank you. Let me just mute my mic and then you take over.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Nice having you here. And I want to say thank you very much for the training journey that you have all joined. And I'm sure you had a very, very good time. We also want to say thank you to our facilitators for your time, your knowledge, and your patience. Doing all of this has really brought clarity and inspired all these women on how to go about a lot of things in their businesses. We also want to say thank you to all the participants. Like, great work. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And thank you for engaging. Yes, thank you for engaging. You have done a very, very great job. You have done really, really great in doing all of this. Thank you so much. Also, we want to say thank you to all the organizers. Thank you so much for putting this up together and for ensuring that it runs smoothly from the beginning to the end. Amazing work and amazing stuff you're doing. AU-CIEFFA and Impactor, thank you so much for the work you are doing. Lastly, I would like to say that with all that we have heard, with all that we have learned, you need to put in the work. Hearing is not just enough, but you need to put in so much work to be able to achieve all that you have listened and all that you have heard. So We are rooting for you guys, and we are hoping that the next time we hear from you, you are doing so much more and you are breaking grounds in your own space and doing a lot of great things. So, once more, thank you so much. And thank you to my colleagues right here, Chiamaka, your trainer, and also Joy for staying all true to the end. Please, you can follow us on all our social media platforms. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Thank you, Patience. I'm grateful. All right, you guys do have a lovely, wonderful day. And that will be all for today. Okay, bye-bye. See you when we see next time.